yesterday, given that little bit of a shaky start, very range-bound move, and then finally we picked up a good 350 points from the day's lows, closing it at a record high once again. So we're at a life high for a fourth consecutive session. In fact, even losing and underperforming sectors like Nifty IT, they managed to snap their three-session losing streak, and the India VIX as well has eased off. So there's no stopping this market. Clearly, that's the messaging loud and clear.
Yeah, you feel nice that it's an all-time high. It's an all-time high, days high. Markets rallied in the second half of the trade, and it in a sense was independent of what was happening in the world. I again make that point that optically you may talk about a new all-time high, but that new all-time high is not coming with a lot of surround sound, which is there is no large massive participation. The thunder in the market is clearly missing. And you are seeing that markets are clearly gravitating towards from small cap to mid cap to large cap, and micro cap stocks have started correcting. I see the following happening, which is that if you look at the global setup, the global cues are stable, DI flows are positive. There is bout of short covering in the F&O market. So markets may just stretch itself, but the move I think is going to be very, very gradual. See the setup, Aisha, what is like a lovely setup for us is always that when global cues are stable, which they are, DI flows are strong, which they are, and then you've got churn which is happening in mid and small cap stocks, which is flushing out the periodic excesses which are happening in the market, which already has started. So this is almost like a fairy tale scenario for us that globally nothing is going wrong. Locally flows are there, the excesses in the market is getting weeded out, and everybody is not on the same side of the board. And this setup actually may well continue till let's say 15th of April or till beginning of May. So nothing wrong, but are we in for fireworks? No. Are we in for stable, steady move on the upside? The answer to that is yes.
Okay, yes indeed, pretty healthy screen that we witnessed yesterday, and like Aisha mentioned as well, the fact that even IT participated. But in the last hour of trading, you had some heavyweights that really packed in a punch and aided the index to get to where it was, the likes of M&M, Hero Moto, Bajaj Finance, Titan, or even a Bajaj Auto by the time we wrapped up trade. And even if we look at the trends in F&O with respect to the Nifty and the kind of short covering that we've witnessed, the FII and DIIs, Nikunj, it's looking like a healthy picture.
It is a healthy picture, and again, it really is going to be, it's really going to be, I think, a gradual steady move. The ship is steady. You have to pick your spots now. I think PSU, large part of the market rally is over. If you're frankly asking me for a spot where I think in the near term, something which has been out of the sun for a long time. Same time last year we spoke about autos. I think now consumer companies could come back. I think it's hard to imagine that only urban will do well and rural will not do well. I think that trade is coming back. So if you frankly ask me that where I think there are some spots in the near term, and when I say near term, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I think one would be construction. Look out for construction companies. They're very cheap. The activity on the construction side will continue. I think consumer, they've been out of sun for a while. I think they could actually make a comeback. That's the second spot. And third, I think larger banks. These are three combinations, I think, which I look at it. And anything which has got a very large rural interface, please don't write it off. I mean, I refuse to accept that if India is doing well, rural will not do well and only urban will drive. Yeah, there are patches where something does well, something does not do well. I think this entire K will soon become V or W, whichever alphabet you want to call it. I think that should change now.
Okay, bet on the rural recovery. That's where the valuation comfort is there, and that's where the alpha could be much higher than what urban premiumization trend names are already sitting on. Well, talk about soaring highs, and you couldn't have taken your eyes off from Nvidia and the way they actually, stock panned out. It's the biggest single-day gain that it's seen. It's added about $277 billion in market cap in just one single day. That's what, half of our GDP?
How much is that?
$277 billion.
No, our GDP
and
is
it's
4
a
trillion.
valuation jump of 6x since October 2020.
Yeah, so our GDP is
so the
4
MCAP
trillion.
is actually bigger than Sensex MCAP, and it's added more than Reliance total MCAP.
Yeah.
In
So
just
India's
one
GDP
single
is
day.
4 trillion. They've added a Reliance. Now these are extraordinary things which will always happen at the peak of, when Google and Apple were going higher. There were times where, you know, Apple added an HCL take overnight. So these are numbers which you can relate to, but that is where the Magnificent Seven actually are talking about, you know, wealth getting created. So while we may talk about PSU stocks, I guess for Americans, this is their PSU lot right now. AI is the buzzword right now. It's Magnificent Seven, whatever you may want to call it. But yeah, that's where I think large part of the flow, large part of the excitement, and even the valuations are not all that stretched. That's my limited point here, that the flow of passive funds into large cap US tech stocks is so strong and so grand that they just cannot put a foot wrong. And Nvidia, Alphabet, even Apple, the valuations are not like 70, 80 times, at 15, 20 times. So yeah, enjoy the party.